Welcome back to the video tutorial of mentorship program for UI UX design. Our topic for today's session is frames and groups. Today we will see the properties of groups and frames, and we will also understand when do we need to use groups and when should we use frames. So let's start. We will start by bringing in some shapes. I will start with let's say we want to create an icon. Okay, I will bring a rectangle and we'll create the hamburger icon, the navigation icon that's universally being used for mobile navigation. So I have this line here. It's a 3-line icon. So this is my first line and I will give it a border radius. It needs to be a little small. Let's just make it smaller. Oops. And we will replicate this. The shortcut for replicating an object we have learned is press the Option key, click and drag it. If you want it in the same alignment, press Shift. Then it will not lose the alignment. Okay. Then that. If you have to repeat the same action, just press Ctrl D or Command D and it will keep repeating the last action. However, we'll remove this. We will select all of this and first we will create a group. We will see all the properties of a group. Now right click this and you can do a group selection, or you should use the shortcut that is Command G or Ctrl G. Now let's see what are the properties for a group. This is my icon. Okay. And these are all the group properties. So one, I can change the position, I can change the width, I can change the height. Okay, and it's applying to all the elements that are part of the group. Now we will not do auto layout. The one thing that we need to remember with auto layout is the moment we use auto layout on a group, the group will be converted to a frame, and therefore we will not convert a group to an auto layout at this moment. The next thing that we will try to change is, so this has a gray color. We will try to change the color to something else. Okay, and it's applying to all the elements that are part of the group. And then let's try and add a stroke. I'll just zoom in so that we can see it clearly. Click here on the plus icon and it applied a stroke. Okay, we can see the stroke here, right? Because we don't need it, we'll just remove it. Now let's try and resizing it like this. Okay, so when I resize the group, all the elements inside the group are resized along with the group resizing. So the properties that we apply to the group get applied to the elements inside it. Now let's see what happens with the frame. So we will start with replicating the same element. Okay, so I will press Option and I will click and drag it. Here I have, okay, firstly this is in decimal, we will change it to, it should not be a decimal, so we'll maintain that design hygiene. Now this is a group. If you have to ungroup an element, you can right click and ungroup it, or the shortcut is Shift Command G. Okay, now it's ungrouped. This is the shortcut for Illustrator, Photoshop, Sketch, all the softwares one of the software that you would have used in the past. So it's a very user-friendly shortcut. Now let's select all of these and create a frame. We will right click on this and we will give it a frame selection. Okay. Now let's try and change the properties that we changed for our group. We will resize it. We will change the position. Okay, it's working well. Let's resize it. Oh, now I will increase the size. Okay, as we can see, the frame has its independent properties. It will not always apply its properties to the elements inside it. Now there is the benefit of group as well as frames is that you can give even spacing without moving individual objects. So right now, as I can see, the space between each element is 19. I will change it to 12. The same property can be applied to the group. So that saves a lot of your time. Let's change it to 20 here also. Okay, now we saw that we cannot resize the elements that we have inside a frame. Now again, we will not do auto layout right now because we are only trying to understand the properties of a frame. Now let's apply a color to the frame. If you can see, when we are selecting a group, it shows you that the fill color is this red color. If you're selecting a frame, it's not showing any color. Let's try and add a color and let's see what happens. I will click on plus to add the color to this frame. And here we have a color. So as we can see, there is the property of color is also an independent property for the frame. It does not apply that property to the elements that it has inside. Let's try applying a stroke. Okay, now as we can see, the stroke has been applied. I will change the color to slightly brighter so that we can see the color of the stroke. Also make it slightly bigger. Okay, so color and stroke, resizing options, all of these are independent properties of a frame, and that is the reason why it's not applying for the elements inside it. So when do you use a group and when do you use a frame? Now if you need to create an icon, I will call this a hamburger icon. Okay, if you need to create an icon, you can feel free and go ahead to use a group, because that will keep all the properties of all the elements inside the group intact. So whenever you have to resize an icon, the best thing to use is a group.